This programme is brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance and Investments.
Unlucky. Tenor says you missed the next one as well. Best of 3?
Join Team Bath and Manchester Thunder, undefeated so far.
He's held the time. Can you keep your nerve, Dragons? Beaten by the clock, beaten by storm.
Don't let it rob you of your face, of your grace, and of your body. It's your world now. Can you feel? It's your world now. Can you?
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh, and it lands.
There's that sunshine flavour coming through from the Jamaican. Isn't that going to be a cracker?
An unconventional win for the home side last week against Storm, and they're still dancing about it. Siggy Berger was fantastic under the post. That's 2 from 2 for the home side. Can they make it 3 on the bounce? We'll see tonight. The visiting party, the Welsh franchise, arrive here with fire in their bellies, winless so far, and without one of their star players. Latanya Wilson was sent off against Bath last week. We'll speak more about that in just a second. It is Pulse against Dragons. We are live from the Copper Box Arena. Here with the assistant coach of Saracens Mavericks, Camilla Buchanan, and former England captain and player at Seven Stars, Ama Agwese. Girls, great to see you. We're going to go straight to the incident. Celtic Dragons against Team Bath last week, and Latanya Wilson was sent off. Here's some of the action. Camilla, talk us through some of this.
So as you see, we see Wilson coming out a little late on that call to Mia Ritchie. Mia Ritchie arguably couldn't see Wilson coming out the circle. She went to a straight warning for that because it was deemed dangerous enough. Here we see her intentionally obstructing. She made no attempt to get the distance of 3 feet away from, so she was sent off for 2 minutes, a 2-minute suspension there. Crazily, she was put back on the court. Any further incident was going to always result in her being sent off the court indefinitely. She took out Imogen Allison with a late call there. Granted, it wasn't intentional, but it was dangerous, so she's off the court and resulted in a match ban today.
So we've got the rule book out, and here is a wealth of information. A player may receive more than 1 caution for different acts of foul play. A player will only receive 1 warning and 1 suspension. This could be the first application from the umpire of the infringement, if the infringement is deemed serious enough. Once warned, a player may be suspended for any breach of foul play. And Celtic Dragons had 48 hours to get clarification from the independent match review panel, and they backed the umpires, so she is not here for this game. A big loss. Sama, what did you make of all those different incidents, especially the first one as a defender?
Yeah, I think as a defender, the first one I'd say was 50-50. As a defender, you're trying to intimidate, you're trying to intercept balls, and I think that one was a 50-50. Camilla did mention that Mia wasn't looking at the ball, so she didn't see the defender coming. The other 2, I think, were a bit dangerous, so to speak, because I think as a defender, you have to weigh up, can you get the ball, and are you going to harm a player? So I think it's a balance. For the first one, I was as a defender.
Right, and also the camera angle, we would like a few more camera angles, obviously, but also is it a case of the player listening to the umpires throughout the game?
Well, this is it, and the INF rule states that it doesn't have to, she doesn't have to be cautioned first. It can go straight to warning. That was deemed dangerous enough. So the next thing that she did in terms of foul play was always going to result in a suspension. Umpires speak to the players, and it's up to the players to change their behaviour. So she was given the warning, she had to change it. She intentionally obstructed, and then another late takeout from Imogen Allison. She had to be sent off the court. I mean, she was put back on. The question is, would you put on a player that's just been suspended? You know you're going to be going down to 6 players if that's the case. The question is, you've got a squad of 10 players. do you now have the depth in there to be able to bring in? And, you know, we have Lucy Howes, who's broken her hand for Dragons, so that was potentially why they didn't make that change there.
Okay, well, let's find out exactly why she did come back on from Tanya Hoffman, the head coach.
Tanya, a difficult start to the season, 2 losses that were perhaps difficult to take. How do you assess those first 2 games?
So close in the Storm game. Last week was a little bit different, just in terms of our defensive circle. So unfortunately, Latania's off for this game. But last week was really difficult anyway with defences when we had Dee with British Army and Lucy, she's broken her hand. So there's your defensive circle gone. But we've got Dee back from British Army, so really looking forward to seeing what she's done during the week.
Was it due to that lack of defensive firepower and bench that you had to bring Latania back on during that game?
It was really. We could have put it on one of our younger players, but we didn't. So, I didn't. But it's just the way it went last week. So we haven't got her today, but we're looking forward to having her back next week.
Is that going to be another problem area? So, like you say, Dee's back, but if you've had to bring on Latania when you maybe could have left her on the bench to avoid a suspension, do you feel depleted in that defensive end generally?
I think having a hand injury, you get injuries during it, so with the numbers of 10, it's really difficult. But we're good to go, and our defensive unit tonight's strong enough.
Thanks very much, Tanya. Good luck.
Thank you.
Emma, if you were coach, would you have put her back on or brought on a younger player?
I think it's too high a risk to put her back on, knowing that she potentially will miss a game if she gets ordered off. So I would have put anybody who could play in defence in that position and maybe shifted the positions around a little bit.
Yeah, OK. It's a big loss for the Celtic Dragons today, not having Latanya Wilson. Let's bring you right up to date with the scores from round 3. And on Friday night, 2 games. Sirens played Storm and Sirens won all 4 quarters against Storm. Another defeat for Storm. Team Bath victorious over Wasps. That's 3 from 3 for Team Bath. At Saracens Mavericks beating 7-star George Fisher was player of the game. And Manchester Thunder overturned a 12-goal deficit to catch Lightning in the closing moments. And of course tonight we've got Pulse against Dragons. This is what the table looks like. We've never seen it look like this before, Camilla. Tamsin Greenway would be at home closing her eyes with Wasps in 8 spots. Loughborough in 7th. Obviously very early days, things will change. But Pulse in 4th. Good signs for the London side.
Well, it is, and tonight is going to be for them, even though we are just at round 3. You do want to start talking about starting to consolidate their performances. This is a game that they should be winning. You want this game to come under your belt because they've not really been tested against some of the players that finished in your top 4 last season. So these are the types of games that Pulse are going to want to consolidate on.
Yeah, 7 stars. You want to get off the bottom of the table. Next up, you've got...
Wasps.
It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, definitely. I think our team keeps showing promise, but we're inconsistent. So I think that consistency that Camilla mentioned, we need to start showing that throughout matches.
Yeah, absolutely. OK, well, Hannah Wilkes earlier on spoke to the head coach of Pulse, Sam Bird. Let's find out her thoughts.
Well, Sam Bird, 2 wins from 2 heading into this one. I know it's a young Pulse team. I know you had realistic expectations, but based on how the first 2 games have gone, you must be pretty pleased.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how we've started. Great 2 wins, and training's been really good, really positive vibe at training, so lots to look forward to.
I imagine if you set the girls one target this evening, it's maybe perhaps a winning margin that's perhaps a little more comfortable.
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think really just looking for a bit more discipline in terms of our performance. As you know, we had a really big lead against Storm and just sort of frittered that away, really. So looking to be a bit more clinical in possession and just keep developing those connections and show how far we've come.
Thanks very much. Good luck this evening.
Thank you.
Sam Bird doing well in 2020 with Pulse. These are a bit of information about Sam Bird, a former England player, Saracens Mavs head coach. You know her well, Camilla. What kind of person is she in the dressing room, on and off the court?
Well, she's got a wealth of experience, and what I think that's been really great about Sam Bird this season is the way, even though we're only 2 games in, is how she's managed her bench. Everyone is raving about Fadoju, who we know is an exciting talent, and you know, is she going to earn her start in this game? Because she's come on as an impact player and she's really blown everybody out of the water with her play. However, she's only 17 years old, so it'll be interesting to see whether she starts with her, whether she protects her, keeps the structure in their defensive lineup and then uses her as an impact player. But I think that she's really used her squad really well. She's managed to get all 10 players out in both games, so some smart coaching from Sam Bird.
Well, breaking news, Camilla, we can see the starting 7 right now. Amma, talk us through your old side, and they're unchanged for the 3rd game in a row.
Yeah, so we see Sam Bird has not changed the lineup, which I think is quite positive, because it's still early days in the season and you want to solidify and cement. And so I think hopefully we'll see Fadujo as an impact player like she's been in the last 2 games.
Yeah, that wing defence position. And moving on to Celtic Dragons. What changes did you see there?
So Amy Clinton, Rebecca Robinson has started. She's got the nod at goal attack. Britt Coleman sits to the bench. That's an interesting start for them. But in the back there, Dee Bulakoro has got the nod with Latanya Wilson being out. It's going to be for Celtic Dragons how they win ball tonight, because what they've done is they've built their structure around a hunter in Wilson. So without that player coming out with ball, who is going to win ball for them tonight against the firing Ziggy Berger?
Ooh, who knows? Well, we'll find out very shortly. Speaking of one of the star players, you alluded to her earlier, is Fadoju for London Pulse. She's been a whirlwind of energy and activity. Let's find out a little bit more about her.
Fadoju, such an athletic goal defence. Fadoju, wow, she was good. How incredible is this 17-year-old? She really was their match winner.
I first started playing for London Pulse 4 years ago, and I picked London Pulse because I was just new to netball, as in proper netball, as in I used to play school, but then I went to club, and then I started trying for Storm, Mavericks, and then I tried for London Pulse, and they picked me. And my whole style of play changed completely, and I feel like I just got so much better with them. They helped develop me as both a player and a person, and I couldn't leave. Literally, best team ever. Pulse has progressed so much since I first began, as in, one, the team has gotten bigger. We've literally brought on so many more good players. Like, people want to be in a team, and we've made a name for ourselves. Sam Bird is such a good coach, as in, she knows how I can be a little bit unorganised off court, and she's helped me with that. She's always making sure that I know where to go, what's going on, and she's helped me be organised, and she's just so nice. And she's making sure I'm okay, asking me about school, family, and I feel like that's really helps me.
Well, here's our substitution.
Fadoju comes on.
I was actually sitting on the side, and then Sam was like, "Fumi, warm up," and my heart was just about to like jump out. And then I went on court. All the girls were so nice. They brought me into the game, and I just feel like they were always there to like support me at the back. And I feel like that really helped and just gave me the confidence to actually go into ball. I was able to get into England, as you know, and I feel like England has helped to develop me on the sides too. London Pulse is what made me who I am today, but England has what helped me to develop into like how I play. They've given me more experience against international teams and helped me really get my name out there. And I feel like that's really helped alongside London Pulse. We have to go back to the drawing board for the Celtic Dragons, see what went wrong, see if we can carry on bringing what we do on court at training into the match, and just working on what broke down and trying to fix on that.
Well, she came on as an impact player last week against Surrey Storm and was formidable as wing defence. Coaching decisions, Camilla, they're not easy when you've only got 10 players.
No, it's not, but I think that's potentially the right one just to protect her in this. We don't want to expose them too young. There's also been some great defensive work going with Halima Adio and Lindsay Keeble, Michelle Drain in there. So I think that that's probably the right call for her. Keep her as an impact player for now, and then potentially later on in the season giving her a start.
There's a great atmosphere here in East London. Pulse are building a culture around quite a few young players as well. Sam Bird, she's really got faith in her bench as well as her starting 7, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has, and it's one of the youngest teams in the whole Super League this season, and that's a real promise for Pulse going forwards. But you know, I think that they have used their 10 really well, and they've got Liv Tajin on the bench, and they've got Kira Rothwell in that shooting circle as well. So they've got some real depth in that shooting circle.
It's the start of the 2020 Super League season. consistency is a word that stands out, because the quarter swings in some of the games that we've seen over the weekend and last week, they've been really big. Teams are taking the lead and then letting teams in. Why is that?
Well, I think at this stage, you know, teams are still experimenting a little bit with combinations. You know, you can get a big lead and think you're going to expose another player, and it doesn't quite work out. So I think at this stage there is still a little bit of room for manoeuvre, but I think what Pulse have done really well, they've stuck with their starting 7. Dragons, we've seen them make a change. It's going to be interesting to see how Rebecca Robinson and Amy Clinton start against the likes of this young lady, Adio and Keeble, who are starting to really get a great connection in that shooting circle, in that defensive circle.
Well, Keeble, a new sign, says they will not finish last. Well, they're doing incredibly well. They're 4th in the table so far. Where will this game go? Who will get the 3 points? Let's get to commentary and join Caroline Barker.
Thank you, Di. Yeah, a change is as good as a rest, right? Both seem to have worked out for last season's bottom of the table dwellers, as Pulse are 2 from 2 under their new coach. South African goal shooter Ziggy Berger, she talked about her new confidence. 76 goals from 78 shots. She's atop of the shooting success stats. As for Dragons, they're still looking for that first win then. They did beat Pulse twice last season, but they'll have to do without the impressive Wilson, ordered off in that defeat last time out. Abby Tyrrell, who was player of the match after they went down to 6, she starts. Always my England captain, Amrad Grazie, alongside me. It is those 2 defensive ends that might prove the difference tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a very defensive game. As you've mentioned, Ziggy Berger up there on the stats as a shooter, so it's going to be interesting how Celtic Dragons have planned to tame her with their missing goalkeeper.
So that centre pass quickly into that attacking end from Pulse. And they've been pretty relentless, haven't they, from the start? We've seen no kind of slow cup of tea starts from them this season.
No, and I think that's really important, that teams, you need to get off the scorecard really quickly and get into games. Show the opposition that you mean business and not be chasing.
Footwork, goal attack,
Footwork call, already an error from Dragons early on. They'll count themselves unfortunate with a couple of the calls in their first 2 games of the season, or at least the way fortune's gone against them.
You can get the ball.
They finished 9th, just above Pulse last time out.
Obstruction, wing defence, sorry, wing attack, penalty, Pulse, yeah. Advantage contact.
A little short pass, deemed legal, but just over the top of the centre.
It's taking a little while for both teams to settle, I think. An uncharacteristic footwork from Robinson, Dragons goal attack, and now that ball off the back line for Pulse. So it will be interesting to see who settles first, and I think they will take hold of the game.
There is Robinson. Dwyer wrestling in amongst it with Drain.
Yes, please.
Drain, who had 5 years with Mavericks, no stranger to that contest on court. Dwyer with it again, has a look round. Great little outlet in there in Amy Clinton. We've seen her with Loughborough Lightning, with Thunder, and she again has been impressive already this season for Dragons.
Yeah, she has. She's definitely a shooter to watch, I think, in the England setup. She's a go-to shooter, always solid on her hold, and can easily finish as well.
Thomas with that lovely little feed into Ziggy Berger. Ziggy's talked about the work that Sam Bird has done with her, and the work initially ahead of that England-South Africa test, just for the end of 2019, and just a couple of weeks work in, she said how much she'd improved, and already seeing the fruits of that this season.
Yeah, I think it's really important for players to take confidence, especially shooters. I think they thrive on how they feel, and so for Ziggy to have that connection with Sam Bird is really important, and I think it's showing here with her performances for the team.
It was a great jump in there from Lindsay Keeble, but no doing with the height and range of Clinton too. Centre pass for Pulse. It was square 2-2 early on. Thomas, well, you don't see that every day.
She teetered like a ballerina. She pretty much caught, the ball came to her before she actually realised it was coming to her.
She meant that, right?
To stop footworking, she had to pirouette like a ballerina. It worked, and they scored.
First insta shot of the day then.
Advantage breaking wing defence, advantage centre obstruction.
Dragons just finding that wall of pink in front of them. Way through, having to go back though. O'Dwyer to Morgan.
Yeah, Pulse defensively are creating an opening in the middle, so they're forcing the Dragons out wide. The two mid-court, the wing defence and centre, are basically trying to get their arms up and create obstruction in the vision of the attackers. So they're struggling to put the ball into the shooters.
And Robinson starting this one. Jamaican international fast 5 with Celtic Dragons. Just keeps things ticking over. Here's Thomas, will bounce through.
Advantage obstruction.
Ah, she's just kept this side bouncing on already those first 2 games, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. She's a really exciting player. She's got lots of energy, and I think she's definitely bringing it to the team.
Debut Super League season up the other end. Blinken, you missed this one.
Goalkeeper, penalty pass. Small step back, please.
Clear instruction from Stuart. With Helen Naylor.
Advantage obstruction, goalkeeper. Pull.
Thomas with it. Semple's come out. Good movement again from London Pulse.
So we see here, Dragons are finding it very difficult to get the ball from the centre third across this line. They keep having to play it back. And then they have to draw their shooter out towards the edge of the circle and then still work it in to get it closer.
Yeah, great defensive work at the moment from London Pulse, but Dragons finding the answer. Little call from Thomas, can't keep it in hand. Good backup work from Dragons this time round.
Offside, go shooter.
Morgan with it. Oh, and the corner fly through from Halle Adio.
A brilliant read of the game there, and she came through beautifully, cleanly, tipped it and picked up her own tip.
Power in the ball back across the circle from Pulse. Lovely manoeuvring again from Berger.
Here's that tip and pick up by Adio. Great timing, came cleanly round the attacker.
Part of the England Futures setup. So many great defenders, of course, for England at the moment. Real strength in that area. I'm counting you amongst that.
Thanks. I didn't know what to say. I
No,
thought I'll stay quiet, but
You're
I was
right.
going to say all defenders are brilliant.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 6-6. Early stages at the copper box. Rotten weather outside. There were a few queuing in the rain. Semple, step in, eyes it up. Perfect target.
Beautiful. I think Dean Thomas, if you watch the wing attack, and Chiara Semple at goal attack, they have a really good connection. They actually do lots of 1-2s together. So it'll be interesting to see how Decker at centre plays into the attack end. But at the moment, wing attack and goal attack have a great connection together.
Contact, goal defence, beside
Wins
the
over
way,
Sirens and Storm so far for London Pulse. Look at the Celtic Dragons, both these sides with new combinations trying to bed and settle in. Centre pass for Pulse. Thomas come for it again with a little fake pass. 1-2 pirouette around Decker. Good move and interchange on the edge of that circle. And Berger again off the bat.
That's probably only her third miss in 3 games. But I think what's really difficult for the Dragons is that Pulse always seem to have somebody available, so there's always someone on the circle edge chasing down the ball from a shooter, and then also it's hard to read who you should defend. So Chiara Simple's doing a really good job of running around the front of the circle, but they know that she is a prolific shooter, so they can't leave her. But then Ziggy Berger is at the back, so it's a very difficult thing, and I think they definitely need to work on their double defence in the circle.
And there is Semple. Clean. Swings back again then, and puts the pressure on Dragons early on.
Goal defence, contact, penalty pass. Yes,
Call
please.
against Keeble himself, who's played for England, of course.
Advantage centre offside.
A great jump there by Adio. Didn't have an effect on the shot, but she's still getting into the mind of the shooter, so hopefully for her that will have an effect later down the track.
Goal third.
Keeble playing the role of the moody teenager then. but still Pulse
Contact
get
goal
the call.
defence, the arms into the player. Penalty outside.
It's interesting as now the umpires have extra powers
perfect.
to caution or warn you, or basically tell you to
obstruction,
settle down
goalkeeper.
if you make faces or protest about things that they've said.
So do you do a whole training session on your poker face?
I think every week our coach says, don't forget, just play the game, forget about what the umpires are doing, forget about the opposition.
Easy, eh?
Advantage centre contact, advantage obstruction centre.
This to make it 9-all.
Contact, goal defence.
I mean, I know, Emma, you're a defender, but even you must be admiring the quality of both these attacking ends at the moment.
I was going to admire the quality of the defensive end and how they're slowing them down and delaying them and forcing them into awkward shooting positions. But yes, I guess on occasion I have to accept that we need attackers. And yes, they are doing very well. I think what they're doing is being patient and working the ball to where they're comfortable. And then they have shooters who can put the ball away at the end of it, which you definitely need.
Plenty to think about in the early stages for the bench. It's Hannah.
Thanks very much, Caroline. Yeah, I'm here with Tanya Hoffman. Tanya, pretty close opening exchanges in this game. Goal for goal, pretty much. What have you learnt so far about the way Pulse are setting up?
I've actually liked how our attack end's going. I think we need to shut down some of the ball and defence end.
In terms of shutting down that end defensively for you, obviously when you've got the likes of Siggy Berger in the circle, they've always got the height there. What can you do to shut that down and get that ball back?
We're just going to use fast feet and come off the body. Dee's a little bit shorter than her, but also working in tandem with Abby. That's key.
Thanks very much, Tanya.
Okay, thanks.
Well, she'd be pleased with that. Little turnover in that passage of play. And they sneak ahead, Dragons. Their centre pass too. As Morgan has a look over. Just delaying things again, London Pulse, but still Dragons finding a way. Robinson from distance.
Swoosh. Pulse actually changed their style of defence there, so they were playing very tight one-on-one, and Celtic Dragons had to work really hard to get the ball into a safe position on the circle edge.
And there's Berger again. So just seeing, and this is why at this level of netball, just those little tweaks, in-game tweaks too, and things happening all over the court, trying to delay matters. Narrow advantage for Dragons. Don't want to do that.
Not when the scores are this tight.
Contact keeper, the arm's coming back. Where the keeper is now. Yes.
Dee Bolakara with that red tape on her right shoulder.
Reset
the crane
movement,
in from
please,
Semple.
goalkeeper. Yes.
And Berger again. Just that's all the pressure that they're putting them under on court.
Yeah, and I think we've seen another example of that pressure right here. So I think both sides still needing to settle into the game. A few uncharacteristic, unforced errors, which they'll need to clean up if they want to progress in the game better.
Dragons and O'Dwyer.
Wing defence, come off the body, please. Penalty pass.
Yeah, she felt a little bit of a shoulder in then.
Yeah, I think Drain, she's not afraid to put her body on the line and contest, and she's a niggly, she's a perfect wing defence. Nuggety gets in there constantly. You'll feel her breathing down your neck on your shoulder, and she will walk the player, and hopefully for her that will pay off in the third and the fourth quarters.
When you've got her playing in front of you, when you're looking at those sorts of wing defences, just hassling things up for you at the back too. Oh, rolls around. Good backup though from Clinton. Pops that one in.
Dragons.
Yeah, you really, when you have one of those wing defences on your team, you are really happy because they're doing a job out of the front. You can see what they're doing, and hopefully it will just build pressure and you'll be able to win it even further back, even if they don't win it themselves.
Kindred doing that work for Dragons as well. Morgan, Dwyer with a little call. Great quick feet to get across court. Make sure that one stays in Dragons' hands.
Contact, wing defence. Wing defence, you must come off the body. Penalty pass, yes.
So we've seen Drain there getting a little talking to from Stuart, the umpire. Sorry, what's Stuart saying?
It's all right, you just call him Sir, don't you? Stuart McCallan-Naylor.
Yeah, so he's just having a little talking to her, telling her clean up her game. Umpires don't want to caution and warn and send up players. So they have a quiet word, hoping that you will change your play and adapt to what they're calling.
I'm not surprised you don't know his name, because you're such a clean player, Emma.
I know, I've never been pulled up for anything.
Just getting a few more of those moments. Celtic Dragons. Clinton again over, but does well to try and recycle it.
Yes.
London Pulse with the ball. Adio into Keeble. Goes back to her co-captain and Drain. That leadership group on court and off it for Pulse. Thomas gets involved and Drain again. Semple came out hunting. Oh, lovely little ball over the top to find Berger.
Yes.
Call comes for her, surely inevitable given her form at the moment. She'll pot that away.
Yeah, both out, both out.
Maybe this time. She pressed pause, there's the play.
And it was interesting then, that beautiful ball over a relatively soft defensive call, but I thought it was interesting then, Colts did struggle to get the ball through the court. They went back a few times. Dean Thomas at wing attack had to come up the court to help out, but did a positional switch with Decker, who was then on to receive the ball close to the circle edge. So they're really working out how to get the ball through court, even though they've been getting held up by Dragons.
Well, can they hold off and keep the Dragons at bay in this final 30-odd seconds of this first quarter? Thomas kisses the sponsors board, tries to make sure that they're delayed. Dragons still have it though. Morgan just too far out for Clinton.
Outside, penalty pass, yes.
Contact call against Strain. The reset from Robinson. She'll have a go from here. Fast five, Super League, every way you look at it. She loves that range. 14-all, last few seconds. They'll need a quick transition from Pulse. Sensing the clock up, surely beaten. There goes the hooter, and we are all square. Familiar territory, of course, for both these sides. Against Bath, they were all square in that first quarter. Dragons, we've seen Pulse be narrowly ahead in games throughout this season through the quarters. These two, though, all tied up. It's only 15 minutes gone. Second quarter to come.
GD must have a good dog. You're too kind. GD. Must stand for good dog. You're too kind.
After wins for Sirens, Team Bath, Mavericks and Thunder, the Copper Box sees Pulse against Dragons all square after the first quarter. 14 all. Amar Grazy alongside me. We're just having a little look around court, see if there are any changes. There's definitely strength on the bench for London Pulse, but no changes at the moment, seemingly for them. Impressed with how both these sides have started?
Yeah, I think they both had a little bit of a nervous start, but they are definitely settling into it. But obviously it's level, so it's all to play for.
Yeah, we've seen some big, huge, whatever other word you want to throw at it, quarter swings over the past 3 rounds, not least from unexpected areas too. Pulse go into this, of course, unbeaten. They're 2 from 2. Dragons still looking for their first win of the season, and you wouldn't say this is an unbeaten side against a side looking for their first win, would you, that first game?
No, definitely, and I think because of the suspension of Celtic Dragons goalkeeper, we were expecting this match would be a whitewash for London Pulse, but that's not been the case, which is all credit to Celtic Dragons and their team and their squad members.
Saying perhaps they were struggling a little to find their way through that Pulse defence. Just already on their toes, Tanya Hoffman's side. Robinson, who starts this one. Seen her come off the bench for Celtic Dragons. So you got the experience of Keeble and Adio inside there. Fingertips, just the difference, but actually messing with the brains of those attacking ends.
Yeah, I think that's the significant thing that was messing with the mind of O'Dwyer. She's a little bit less experienced, and I think in that situation a more experienced player would have set the ball back to the third line and gone again, but she tried to force it in, and unfortunately it didn't pay off for them.
Centre contact, penalty pass, Pulse outside. Yes, please.
Tyrrell, in particular, not happy with that. She was player of the match, Abby Tyrrell, after Wilson's ordering off in the last game. Played it like a fast 5.
It's a pretty tough position to play, goal defence, if you don't have a goalkeeper, because you have to cover 2/3 of the court, attacking-wise, and then also defensively, so a big ask that she had.
My heart is bleeding for you right now, Anna.
It's a thankless task. Shooters get all the glory. Ziggy Berger there, scoring. Dragons. Everyone's cheering. Defenders, nothing.
I'm just going to call you superstars defender rather than just 7 stars. Dragons with it.
Advantage offside. No.
I think at the moment, Pulse are putting Dragons under immense pressure in their attack end. At the moment, Dragons are only moving 1 player at a time, and it's not opening up for them. So they need to they need to do more movement, which plays off each other and reading each other.
Talk of movement, Thomas then, eyes, feet, hands were all going separate ways. The end result still happens, but
causing contact, wing defence, centre third.
Drain with the call against.
The side,
you just
please.
see all that real energy from Thomas.
Advantage moving off.
Dragons still have it. It's been messy, been a bit ugly from Dragons in particular in their transition.
And Dragons, I think, a little bit hesitant to let the ball go. They're aware of where Pulse are, and they're just not wanting to let it go, which you have to trust that your players will get it and just let it go and hope that your pass is decent and it will get to where it needs to.
Contact, goal defence. Yeah,
Lindsay Keeble feels a bit hard done by there. The ball was free and bouncing on the floor, and the goal attack was moving back into her. So what she's saying is, you can't move back into me if you don't have possession of the ball, but the umpire deemed that incorrect.
So you can almost wear the opposition dress, but you just got to be careful about who tries it on first.
From out of court, throwing Dragons.
Oh, that's
just
harsh.
this side of the post, please.
It's the rules.
It is the rules.
So
I've been complaining about everything.
Chiara Simple there. You can't run up the court and then jump onto the court and catch the ball. Your feet, both feet, have to make contact with the court before you can catch the ball. Pulse here with their zone still. You can see clear space in the middle. They're trying to keep Dragons out of it, and just a passing error there. Possession to Pulse.
Again, that was all the work that they were doing with that Sonal. Now what do they do? Oh, the replay of the ball. Both sides, there's just small little errors.
Yeah, although I do think Celtic Dragons' errors are now forced errors, as in the pressure that Pulse are putting on them.
Hold tight, wing defence, caution, persistent contact. Okay. Here, please, guys. Yep.
A little bit of a tough call for Drain there. I think she read the ball well and came out, unfortunately, made contact with the player. So she's now on a caution.
Offside, centre,
And I was saying that Celtic Dragons, I think they're under pressure, and that's why they're making errors, whereas London Pulse have made a few unforced errors, so footwork, coming in from out of court, replaying, just silly things that they definitely need to clean up, and I'm sure Sam Bird will be having a word with them to get rid of those from their game.
We were right behind that shot of Robinson then. Rebecca Robinson, Jamaican international. It just looked so sweet from behind to draw Dragons back level. Now their centre pass to go ahead again. Similar position that time round for Robinson. Thought Clinton had enough to get it. Fortunate again for Dragons.
Quite a fortunate gain. I thought Adio had that in her possession, but again, it was left and Dragons capitalised on it.
Centre, penalty pass, Pulse. Advantage goal, contact on, goalkeeper. Dragons.
I think as a feeder, it must give you such confidence to know that you've got someone like Ziggy Berger in the back that you can just throw the ball to and she'll catch it. So at the moment, she's on 13 from 14 at 92%. She's definitely keeping the side in it. Chiara Simple at 4 from 5 at 80%. But when you've got a Ziggy Berger who's a great post, she's always available, and you have confidence in her, it's easy, I think, to let the ball go and trust that it will get there.
At the moment, Ziggy Berger just dropping, on average, 1 goal a game.
Advantage offside,
Third
Dragons
round,
wing attack.
She's only dropped 3 goals so far. She's keeping that London Pulse shot percentage up at 89%. Dragons at 77% at the moment. There's another off.
Yeah, it's really difficult as a defender because we saw there Chiara Simple was doing the work. The 2 defenders dropped back on Ziggy Berger. So Chiara gained ground in the circle and then just popped the ball to Ziggy. So it's just really hard, this defensive combination, to decide what you're going to do to combat them.
How lucky are we at the moment to see Berger playing in the Super League? A couple of years with Storm, and just really grown into the role. Up the other end, Clinton too. Just using great upper body strength. We actually saw out a goal attack, didn't we, in the last few games? I mean, just for, we're talking minutes.
I think she'd be happy that was just minutes. But we just saw on that replay there how the ball was placed. She was holding one way and the ball was placed on the opposite side of the defender, and she just opened out and took the ball really cleanly, so the defender wasn't unable to contest it.
Breaking wing defence, free pass. Centre third, yes. Obstruction initially, centre, free pass, that's penalty outside. Yes.
Goalkeeper.
Contact keeper, pushing off.
Goalkeeper, just watch the contact on the arm.
Further back where the keeper is now. Yes, yes.
This is really clear again from the umpires. Or one end where everything, all the action is going on, clear instruction, but just making sure instruction given to those players that aren't involved to just how to keep cleaning things up through the game.
Yeah, because I think umpires don't actually want to blow their whistle, or so they tell me. And so they want the game to be clean and they want it to flow. So if they can control the game without having to blow the whistle, that's what they're intending to do.
Contact wing.
I do beg to differ sometimes, but I'm not an umpire and they have a thankless task and we can't play without them, so I'm very grateful for
Is there a new feature coming on? Would you like to become an umpire?
Short, it was short.
I'd like to try, but I feel like I'd get a lot of abuse.
Contact on the ball keeps. The hands on it straight away. Further back, please. Yep.
So Rebecca Robinson shooting at 75% at the moment, and another one goes over.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Dragons really need to capitalise on this because it's, eventually Pulse will start creeping away. They're already 2 goals ahead and you don't want them to get runs. So in netball, we sort of look at runs of goals. So you score your centre pass, you score the opposition centre pass, and then you score your own. You're already up by 3, and the team are chasing. And so that's what Pulse are slowly doing and slowly controlling the game.
Contact, wing defence, penalty pass.
We've seen that over the weekend. Manchester Thunder put on a huge run of goals against Loughborough Lightning when they thought maybe the game was gone to win that. Unbeaten.
Exactly.
Bath 2.
Yeah, I think Bath scored a run of 9 goals at the end of their game to win by about 15 or 19. So you don't want teams to get runs of goals and you always want to answer back. So even if a team gets 2 goals, you at least want to get 1 so that you're keeping in check with them. A team that gets a run of 9 goals, it's really difficult to come back against that.
Hands up if you're enjoying it.
Advantage contact.
I think I might have got stuck halfway up on that.
Goal attack.
Yeah, I think that the last goal wasn't too sure either.
Goalkeeper contact. Penalty pass, please. Yes. Advantage goal. Obstruction goal defence. Dragons.
Now 17 goals from 18 shots for Berger. Dragons though.
Wing attack, contact, yes.
Just about to say they haven't let them nibble too far ahead. O'Dwyer into Clinton. Oh, Morgan taking part in the no-look squad. And Clinton from distance
gets a settler for the Dragons.
She's a personal trainer by trade. Morgan
offside,
had a year out from the Super League, but has just come back firing. Now Dragons again said they wouldn't let Pulse put a run on. Needs to go back level. Just over 4 minutes of this first half remaining. You don't want Robinson to lose that confidence, do you?
No, you don't, and you still want her to keep going to the post.
Goal shooter, you're out of play as well. It's a penalty, okay?
Just a bit of confusion there as to who was out.
Restart.
Who was out of play.
On their own time.
We thought there were going to be, in that last Pulse game, maybe substitutions, such with the bench up and on their toes, cheering their team on, as they got that win against Storm, just the 1 goal in it.
Wing defence, obstruction.
And this one is narrow.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the score influences Samba's decisions. I think she has a great bench, and the 3 girls that we just saw on the bench there, all London-based girls, and each of them has taken a part in each of their 2 games previously. And I know that she will potentially be relying on them in this game as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Liv Chin coming through, Pulse MPL, Rothwell to
Advantage offside wing.
Fadoju, we talked about for about the last 3 days incessantly, haven't we? Just a real quality start.
We did, and we did see Samba there instructing one of her players on court to call time, so we'll see if she's about to make a change shortly.
One of the changes, of course, in the Super League this season, it can legitimately now make a substitution for tactical reasons. And here comes the change then, well spotted Amma Agwazi. So I think we're going to see Michelle Drain move to that centre position.
Ashley Decker goes off.
Yeah, Decker gets the pat on the bum. She heads to the court. And we wondered at what stage we would see Fadoju come onto court. Why make the change now then?
Yeah, I think at the moment the momentum's still shifting a little bit. You'd think this far into a game that you would have settled into the game and you'd know who had the momentum. So I think we've introduced Fadoju so that potentially she can start winning ball. Pulse defensively are playing very well in terms of delaying Celtic Dragons, but eventually they're still managing to get the ball through. So they need to win ball, and I think that's what Fadoju's been introduced to do.
She's been captain of the England under-17 team. She's got that experience and doesn't look out of place on a Super League court. It's every time that Pulse have tried to put their foot down and get ahead of Dragons, she's been brought on just for that reason.
Exactly, and I think coming on in Super League at this level and almost with her first touch of the ball, she makes a significant impact and gains possession for the Pulse. So she's doing her job, so I'm sure she'll be out there for much longer.
Drain with that centre bib on. Now it's ticking for London Pulse.
Hold time, please.
Centre pass with Drain. There is Fadoju. Reach.
Contact,
to hang on to that.
Penalty first.
And Semple. Drain started the move. Gets involved in the middle. And Berger, now 22 from 23.
Breaking wing defence, centre third. Yes.
So here, Celtic Dragons need to be patient,
Wing defence, contact,
work the ball.
outside, yeah. It's contact, Kate. Yeah, yeah.
I wondered there whether Robinson may try and pass the ball to Amy Clinton or take the shot. I think she's trying to gain confidence, so because there was a defender out, she thought she'd have a go at forcing the ball up. Unfortunately, she mixed it for her and is currently on 64%.
They do have Britt Coleman on the bench, Dragons, who's an option, perhaps. Started that last game. Last 30 seconds of this one, and they've just extended their lead. Pulse, 6 goals the difference. Psychologically for Dragons, Thomas sensing it, does a plank in the meantime as well.
Goal attack, yeah. Where the goal attack is, yeah.
So you get the feeling this will be their last chance. Last 10 seconds of this. Clinton with it. Looks in once, twice.
Yeah,
Obstruction
further in,
called.
Slightly further in. Yeah.
3 times a lady.
Yeah, it's
There you go. That one counts, says the umpire. Well, you kind of feel like that was just about taking a little bit of the gloss off for it, because we saw the change from London Pulse. Every time that Dragons have come back at them, Sam Bird sensing that and wanting really just trying to put her foot down a bit more.
Yeah, she did, and I think that's a good coach can read the game and make changes preemptively as opposed to waiting and reacting, and so I think Sam Bird had made a really good decision there, and the timing was perfect.
Let's get some reaction from the players. Hannah.
Caroline, Hallie, it feels like we've had this conversation a few times now. You've pulled ahead by 5 points, but a close game once again. What is going to be the key to this one?
Obviously, there was nerves because it is our first home match, and there are going to be nerves. I think we just need to continue building in the match. With Fumi coming on, I think that was just a massive lift for the whole team. And we managed to get ahead by 5 goals, which is lovely. So I think we just need to continue to build that into the next quarter.
Well, she did have an instant impact. She had a massive response as well here in this arena. What a phenomenal talent. And to see immediately the impact someone so young can have must be a huge boost to the whole team.
Yeah, because she's the youngest in our squad, and for her to have the elevation that she has and the confidence that she has to come on court is amazing, and I'm just proud of her. Yeah, she's doing amazing.
I can tell just how proud you are. We'll let you go get into the dressing room for that team chat, and we'll bring in Sophie Morgan, the Celtic Dragons captain. Hi, Sophie. There was the lead there. It was goal for goal, but just managed to let the game slip away a little bit. What are you going to look to do in the second half?
At the minute, it's just silly mistakes. We're forcing our own errors, so we're turning over ball. We're not getting a lot of opportunities to turn over ball, but when we do, we just need to look after it and take it to goal. We're just getting caught a little bit static and wide at times, so we just need to make sure there's 2 options to ball all the time.
That Pulse defensive end is really strong. How are you going to look to be breaking that down and keep feeding those shooters?
It is, and again, just not getting caught static. We've got to keep going. We've got to draw them somewhere, either get them out on the fakes and give it straight in, or just keep running them, because we know they're going to run through us. We know they're solid, and we've just got to take the hits and just get the ball to go.
Thanks very much, Sophie. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Nerves for Pulse, silly mistake, says Morgan for Dragons. All results in a brilliant watch for us. Analysis to come.
GD must stand for good dog. You're too kind. must stand for good dog. You're too kind.
We've seen some great intercepts in this game from the home side, and in their attack they've proved successful. At the moment the scoreline is 28-23, but Celtic Dragons have shown moments of great play as well. Their captain Sophie Morgan says they're a little bit static, they're making some silly mistakes, that's why there's the 5-goal difference. And we're so lucky to have players like Siggy Berger in the Super League and Amy Clinton at the other end. It's been a great 30 minutes so far. Camilla, what's your assessment?
I'm really impressed with Celtic Dragons and their structure so far. Even though they've gone into this half-time with a deficit, I've been really impressed with the partnership of Amy Clinton and Rebecca Robinson, the way they've grown. They are having to work a lot harder than Pulse are in terms of the other end. However, just want to have a look at some clips. So if we have a look here at Dragon centre pass, what we have is the first centre pass goes back. They are having to put in a lot more passes to get the ball through. However, we take Rebecca Robinson with the ball here. She's happy to play it through. Amy Clinton from range doesn't like that, so they play it out again. What they do is they have this rotational circle. Robinson gets the ball from range, which is the Jamaican style. She's happy to shoot from there. So the rotational circle is working for them against the Pulse defence, who in the air, all day long they can pick off these interceptions. We saw the addition of Fidoju in there because they need to win the ball, but Dragons are starving them of ball. If we have a look at the Pulse, the other end, however, what they're having to do as we play this clip through, they're just doing a lot less passes to get. If we can just pause it here. The Dragons' defence has been built on Latanya Wilson flying out for interception. So you can see everything is shut off from a Dragons' point of view here. So there is nothing going forward. So the only option is to put that ball into Ziggy Berger. Latanya Wilson would win this interception. However, she's not in there. Ziggy Berger's catching the ball uncontested under the post. A lot easier for Pulse to get the ball into the circle. So my question is, are Dragons going to make a change in that circle? Can Rebecca Robinson, keep that work rate for the next quarter to keep Dragons in this game?
Okay, Dragons' defence though, what are they lacking?
Well, as I said, that they've built their whole defensive structure around a hunter, someone like Latanya Wilson who can come out. However, Tyrrell and oh my goodness, Paige Kindred are doing a fantastic job of stopping the depth, not allowing the centre court players to drive through. However, you need someone as a ball winner at the back to come through with that. So they are lacking that Wilson in the back. So whether or not they've got any depth on their bench to make a change, I don't know. We'll see in this next quarter.
The home side, London Pulse, they seem a little bit more calm, cool and collected, a little bit more level-headed. What do you make of their mid-court going through to their attacking end?
Interesting. Defensively, I thought they seemed a little bit itchy because they're a team that they thrive off of interceptions. You saw they've made that change there with Fidoju coming in at wing defence because they want to win ball. They rise off of that. So it was interesting to see how itchy they were when they weren't able to win those interceptions. However, Fidoju's in there. She's got some stuff to do in this next.
Fair enough. A little bit itchy. Oh, I'm starting to feel a bit itchy. This is a cheap top. Fidoju, though, she did make an impact coming on as wing defence. We saw it last week when Sam Bird put her on. She's, just to highlight to our viewers again, who may have just been tuned in for the first time, 17 years young and creating a storm in the Super League.
I mean, it's a joke, isn't it? I mean, you heard the crowd when she came in. Everybody's now have got their eyes on this kid, and she's got something to live up to now. She's given herself, some high expectations, and I've got no doubt that she's going to live up to those.
Oh, can't wait to see her in the third quarter. Thanks, Camilla. We'll see you in a couple of minutes' time because this game could go either way.
GD must stand for good dog. You're too kind. GD. Must have a good dog. You're too kind.
London Pulse, their first home game here at the Copper Box of the season. They're 2 wins from 2 already, and they're ahead of Celtic Dragons at half-time. Last season, only 2 wins for the whole season. At Sky Netball to get in touch. Jess says, I still can't believe that Padoju is 17 years old, been on for a minute, already made a turnover. She's awesome! And at 17-2, England's next big wing defence. That's the prospect in front of Celtic Dragons, themselves without a win this season. Amma Agwezi alongside me. We're just having a little scout round. Can't see those changes for Dragons. We thought maybe there might be a change in that attacking end, but looks like they've stuck. There's Semple combining with Thomas, and I know we made a lot, Amma, of Purely. There, as she drops another one through Berger in that first couple of quarters, but Semple and the way she's backed her up was great in those first 30.
Yeah, it means that the way Semple's playing, Dragons can't take their eye off Semple, so they can't double up on Berger. So it's really important that Semple provides that option, and she is a prolific shooter as well. So it's really difficult as a defensive combination to quieten them down.
Well, there's a big confidence boost for Robinson. And every time we felt like London Pulse have just been swinging and hitting with Dragons. Dragons have come back off the ropes, but this time round, another couple on. We want to see it go back goal for goal.
Yeah, we do. We saw Adine Thomas there, confidence to just catch the ball first phase and turn and let it go to Ziggy Berger. So I think Pulse are settling into the game and more confident.
And there is Thomas. Oh, look on the run from Drain and right back in. Kind of deserved some Pulse hands on the end of that, but never really in control.
Just outside.
Yeah, they are.
Yes,
I think they're comfortable to let those 50-50 balls go, whereas they were a little bit hesitant before. They definitely have the momentum and the control of the game.
Dragons. Just outside.
Dee Bolokaro with the ball for Dragon. She's back from
outside the circle, keeper.
British Army duty this week. Wasn't available last time out for Celtic Dragons. There's Cyril with it, and Morgan. Oh, great defensive work then from Berger again.
Yeah, just getting in the middle. Adine Thomas is hobbling off at the side of the court.
Just a concern
holding
the
her
back
ankle.
of the court. She's still demanding the ball though. She was hobbling, asking for the ball, and Berger delivered. They'll monitor her, but it might just be one of those where you jar it and run it off.
Yeah, that instant shock, and then if you keep running it off, eventually after the game it probably will hurt and it might be swollen, but at the time, occasionally you can just run that off.
Berger again. And all of a sudden, how quickly that gap can open up.
Advantage breaking, wing defence.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised that Celtic Dragons didn't make any changes at the break. So I can see Brittany Coleman on the bike for Celtic Dragons, so potentially she may be introduced into the game.
Advantage offside,
attacking-wise, they're definitely struggling to get this ball into the circle, as we can see here.
Pass. Goalkeeper beside, please. Yeah, thank you.
It's Coleman we've seen
contact leg
in that attacking end.
Pass, yes.
And Robinson taking that goal attack starting bid for Celtic Dragons.
Halfway, yeah.
It's just a step to the right.
Pull. So pedantic.
Just seeing, oh, it's just one of those little jars, isn't it?
Yeah, so she stood on the foot of Robinson, tweaked her ankle, but seems to be okay at the moment.
Such quick feet, Thomas. You wouldn't be able to see her ankle when she's in full flight anyway. There is a lovely little feed in to Clinton and through.
Yeah, great confidence there to just let that ball go, and I think that's what they need to do more of.
That's very much how I like to eat my dinner. Although if that'd been me, I would have inhaled that baguette. Thomas looks like she's all right. Looks like she's shaking it off, Thomas.
Shooter. Penalty. It's in the centre third. Centre third.
Yeah, the way she jumped up to try and catch that ball and then landed in a presser position, I think she's okay.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Obstruction, goal attack.
Work again of Semple. frustrated with herself, felt like she had the right to nick that ball.
Goal attack, goal attack. You can get that distance before the arms.
And again, that confidence to let that ball go from afar. Morgan just letting it go. I think she's the only Celtic Dragon player who seems to be finding Clinton in the circle and is confident to just put it.
Contact, goal defence with the body just inside. Yes, please.
Contact against
Advantage
Keeble.
offside, wing defence.
No, Dwyer and Robinson. So you want to see a bit more from O'Dwyer with those feet in.
Yeah, definitely. I think they do need to build that bit much, and that goal was disallowed there.
Advantage obstruction, wing attack. Advantage contact, goal attack.
But they do need to build up their confidence and let the ball go. They've got nothing to lose now, so they may as well try and get that ball
goal
in.
attack, Paul. Yes, advantage obstruction.
Tyrrell winning that one through. Oh, Fidoju on the fly.
And Pulse just being patient. Celtic Dragons defensively doing a little bit of what Pulse were doing, trying to keep them out in the middle, but Pulse happy to play the ball back, go down the other side, and Semple puts it away perfectly. And here we see Fidoju coming out with that fly. You mentioned that she'd be a potential, from the tweet, England's next wing defence. I think she could play wing defence, goalkeeper, even centre if she works on her fitness. She's an exciting prospect for England.
Sing the theme tune, write the theme tune. Semple with it too. Cara Semple, who we've seen in England underage, could play for 3 different nations, but she's a real prospect. Great seeing all this young English talent on court.
Yeah, and I think Cara Semple has had a good pre-season. She's really worked on her fitness, lost a little bit of weight.
Goal shooter, replayed ball, 3-pass pull.
There's a little trip and a tumble in there as well.
Inside.
And that's the second time they've had a replayed ball.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not really sure what they're doing. It didn't even look like the goal shooter had possession then, but it was called a goal shoot replaying. But I know that will definitely frustrate the Dragons because they only get a certain amount of possession.
Yes.
And they're still not capitalising on it.
Pushing off keeps off the back
75%.
of the goal attack, yes.
Both these sides have had 37 shots, but there's the difference right there.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can win the ball defensively, but if you're not putting it away at the other end, it's pointless.
Oh, Dean Thomas. The thumbs up emoji from Ziggy Berger, as she might, that feed into the circle. Perfect.
What was nice about that was the defender was leaning predominantly to one side and Nadine Thomas just took the steps and elevated so that she didn't footwork and still got a brilliant, beautiful ball away.
Centre third penalty.
We might see that change from Dragons shortly.
Yes, yes.
The bench have been over for a chat with Rick Coleman. And they've got to try and do something because at the moment, London Pulse just hammering home. Gap out to 10, 38-28. Halfway through this third quarter.
Yeah, and Jamila Abbott, the Dragons assistant coach, has given a thumbs up to Brittany Coleman. I'm surprised that they've waited this long to make the change. Going 10 goals down to a team at this level is significant and very hard to win back.
So it looks like Coleman's going to be come on. She started the last 2, that goal attack position for Dragons. At the moment, it's the defensive end that needs to put the shift in for the Welsh side.
Obstruction, advantage goal, obstruction, keeper.
Hold time, please. Substitution.
I just wanted to commend Dee Bolacaro. She's currently holding her shoulder, which is taped heavily, but she is actually delaying the ball occasionally to Siggy Berger, and it is a thankless task, and she is doing her best and doing quite well. It's just eventually still getting in, and Pulse are still capitalising on all their possession.
10 goals the difference then, a bit of a breather for Sam Bird, Hannah.
It certainly is. Well, it's a breathe on the scoreboard. I don't think Sam's really paused for breath, though. No, that's absolutely fine. 10 goals. You've opened up a bit of a gap here.
Yeah.
And I can hear you all still praising the defensive work of this Pulse side as well.
Yes, yeah, it's really important that we defend hard and we really try and win as much ball as we can to just keep sending this ball back up for the shooters for those opportunities.
Dragons have sort of bulked out their defensive end formation coming into this third quarter, but you're still getting the ball through. How important is that to keep finding a way through?
Yeah, it's just really important just to be patient and wait for the shooter to open up like we are there. So it's just sometimes an extra pass or just changing up the pace just to hop that last pass carefully.
I'm loath to bring it up, but obviously in the first quarter against Storm last week, you had a big lead. Have you spoken to the girls about how to keep the cool head once you've got this sort of, 11-goal lead now?
Well, I'd like them to keep a cool head, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, I think they look a bit more composed today and a bit more comfortable winning.
Thanks very much, Sam. I'll let you watch the match.
Thank you.
Yeah, against Storm, 19-6 up after that first quarter. 18-9, Storm won the second, won the third too, before Pulse came back in that fourth quarter. A gap back down to 10 then. And there is Coleman on court, just over the top though.
But I think that's a little bit more of what they need to do. They're 10 goals down. Amy Clinton is better on a one-on-one with Adio, so it's probably more the placement of that pass as opposed to not doing it. So hopefully Coleman will have a go at feeding that ball again.
Yeah, Britt Coleman stepping into this Dragon side after Chelsea Lewis announced her pregnancy. We had another royal birth this week. Tracy Neville, perfect delivery, and the birth of young Ned. We'll try and keep, she's probably watching at home, so we'll try and keep it down a bit. Difficult when it's such fast-paced netball in front of you.
Well held there by Clinton.
Adio on the back up.
Obstruction goal shooter.
Fadoji. And drain. It's a real bit of strength in that mid-court as well for London Pulse, isn't being able to move Drain into that centre position.
Yeah, definitely, and we were talking earlier about only having 10 players on the bench, and that's a really significant and impactful thing. And so to be able to move Drain across wing defence and centre, as well as having Decker, is key, I think, for London Pulse.
Obstruction, wing defence. Yes.
Had a little look over to the bench of Pulse, and there's no one on it at the moment. They're all off warming up. In contrast, just seeing in the back of that shot, the Dragons bench all zipped up by their tops. Might stick with this all the way through. Got to allow time, of course, for Coleman to settle on court. They are still ticking it over.
Yeah, they have possession, but they're not always capitalising on it. And I think when you're 9 or so goals behind, you need to keep chipping away, and Dragons aren't always doing that. And when you have to contend with that at the other end, you definitely need to keep capitalising on it. So Pulse currently shooting at 95% to Dragons 75%.
Yeah, 9 from 10 for Semple, 36 from 37 for Berger.
Goal shooter, obstruction. Find the distance, please. Yes.
Clinton has a little look up at the post.
Advantage goal shooter, obstruction.
Hoping it might give her answers. She's mixed her last 2 shots. She's still a really good, strong shooter, so she still needs to not lose confidence and keep putting the ball up. She's currently shooting at 76%, which is the highest percentage for the Dragons, so they definitely need her to hang into this game.
Yeah, Clinton had 57 goals going into this one, but importantly, had won 4 turnovers for her side too, so she's been a real asset.
Contact, wing defence, goal third, yes.
Just needs to take a bit of confidence from the last 2 games.
Approaching
the last minute then of this quarter, and a change is going to happen.
So Brittany Coleman is going to goal shooter. Rebecca Robinson's coming back on at goal attack, and Amy Clinton is being taken to the bench.
So they're losing marginally a little bit of that height from Clinton in there, but what are they gaining?
And they're actually gaining movement and momentum. Lindsay Keeble is a very good defender when she has a tall player to play on. If the circle starts rotating and moving, hopefully it might be able to break up the defenders, and they might be able to get the ball closer to the post and put some more score on the board.
Yes.
There was no welcome mat laid out for Robinson then. She took one to the hip. She came back onto court. There's so much body on body in there.
Just beside the...
Yeah, I think an off-the-ball body on body, but just letting her know, welcome back to the game. We're still here. We still own this circle. Just a little welcome from the defenders.
Wing... Hold time, please. Wing defence, that's intentional obstruction, and that's a caution.
Fedosia picking up her caution.
And that's probably her first caution in her life, being as she's so young and not really played at this level.
She's earned her spur with that then, and there'll be,
goal attack.
I'm sure, many more of those to come.
I think the game's changed quite a lot.
Contact centre.
The sending off that Wilson
Contact, goal
had
defence.
last week for Celtic
Yes.
Dragons. Back in the day, in my day, because I'm so
You
old.
still got your day.
Back in the day, I remember when I first started playing goalkeeper, you would come out and occasionally you might make contact with a player and you clean them out, and it was just seen as contest.
Contest, hey? Well, we've lost a little bit of that in this quarter, and they've just pulled ahead of London Pulse. The change is working to good effect for them. How will Celtic Dragons react, though, as we head into the final 15? Pulse with a lead, 48-31.
GD must have a good dog. You're too kind. GD must have a good dog. You're too kind.
Your weekly netball fix continues next Monday. Lightning up against Mavericks. All the build-up from 6:45 p.m. on Arena and Mix. And then if you missed that and want to catch up, then available now and throughout the season, Off the Court. Your questions, hashtag Off the Court for Tamsin Greenway, and that other one sat next to her. We recap round 2, round 3 on its way, but feel free to ask us anything you like. If you had a question in life, Amma Agbrazy, what would it be?
Well, I was just going to comment on the colour of that shirt that the other one was wearing.
I wouldn't do that. It's a distraction technique. If I was playing netball on court, I'd be definitely fluorescent. These two teams then in the huddle. It is advantage London Pulse at the moment. What do you want to see from this Dragon side to drag themselves back into it?
Yeah, I think Dragons need to win more ball, but the ball that they are winning, they're not capitalising on. They're not capitalising on their centre part. So I think just being more patient, having more than one option to each ball. They've started well. Hopefully, they're seeing a lot of contact and pressure in the defensive circle and not really able to withstand it. So hopefully they can start standing upright and trusting each other to let the ball go.
Further back.
So that relatively new shake-up in that attacking end for Dragons.
Throw in Dragons. This side.
Just so alert. Adio again. I know that call didn't go her way and Dragons have the ball, but all the time been on their toes, that defensive end.
Yeah, definitely. I was watching a football match earlier in the week, and a defender thought they had time and they were controlling the ball, and the attacker ran in from nowhere and came and scored a goal. And I think Adio's doing that. She's obviously a defender, but she's playing as if she's attacking the game, always wanting the ball, always hungry.
Obstruction, goal defence, penalty pass. Where you are, please. Step it in, goal defence.
Also looks his lights when you keep scoring goals.
Morgan and Bolokari to wire 2. Worth noting just how up that other end, of course, for Dragons. They've really had to change things around defensively. Coleman settling things. Not out of it yet. There's Thomas.
We see Berger there holding at the front. Typically she holds from behind and the ball has to go over the defender. But she's changed her position there and is holding forwards and still able to get the ball.
50 up for the home side. Oh, Adio again. Is that intent?
Yeah, definitely. I think also just confusing the space, making the attackers think the space is available and then sitting there and reading it and picking it off.
Advantage obstruction, centre.
Good job here. So Adio covers the position, tips it, and unfortunately can't keep it in court.
I mean, find a textbook, that won't be in it. But what you did see then again is that flair from Thomas just opening things up.
Yeah, she is a really exciting player. When she plays for Jamaica, I love the flair, and there's a lot of players with flair on court. And in this court side, she can play with flair. There's other players who settle things, such as Susie Drain in the centre. You can't have everybody playing with flair because it doesn't work. But she has really good vision. She holds on to some amazing balls, and she's got good athleticism.
Still playing their part, Dragons. Now what defensive work can they do? We've lost Howes, who's got a broken hand. Wilson ordered off last time round, misses this one out. Akaru with that heavy strapping on her right shoulder as well.
Contact your right arm, goalkeeper, in the back.
Bolokaro there did a great job on Semple. She really kept out the circle and working really hard. Unfortunately, Siggy Berger was there and available, but Bolokaro is doing a really good job on Semple. And I think sometimes when you have such a key shooter in a team, it's easy for the team, the defenders, to think we need to drop back and focus on that shooter. But actually, if you put more pressure up court, then the shooter's under even more pressure, and hopefully that will force them into mistakes.
Bouncing from Morgan. Robinson eventually finds its way back to Morgan, and those two combining. All just very tight inside that circle. Better though.
It is better. Dragons are playing a very, very short game, so short passes, little bounce passes, and when you play like that, it's hard for defenders to get in between and intercept the ball. So I think we've seen that as a way of breaking up the Pulse defence so that they can't work together, which is the way that they work well.
keeper. Outside, penalty. Further back, further back. Further back, please.
And I think this moving circle is definitely posing challenges for the Pulse defence. It is taking time to get in, but I do think that the Pulse defence are less able to deal with it than they were with a tall holding shooter and
the head's in the eye line.
goal attack.
No, you're not quite down, though.
So better then for Tanya Hoffman's side. And then there's that.
That is amazing. You don't tip a shot very often, and so hats off to Hallie Adio there. Brilliant timing and brilliant distance.
Advantage, contact, wing defence. Advantage, contact, goal defence. Advantage, obstruction, wing defence.
Still just putting the pressure on this London Pulse side, looking for their third win of the season. Drain with it.
Contact,
Feed in
goalkeeper, come off
to
the body,
Ziggy Berger.
please. Where you are, goalkeeper in.
And Berger, real contender for player of the match. Now 45 goals from 46 shots. Just a little hold of the time because the net didn't want to give the ball up.
And Berger wasn't getting it either. She decided she wasn't jumping anymore to get the ball.
I've done enough.
Yeah, our team are up. We don't need the ball to get to the centre part.
Oh, and when it goes against you, everything crumbles.
Advantage, contact, Dragon centre.
And I think that happens sometimes when the momentum shifts and one team's dominating. It almost sometimes feels as the opposition that everything is going against you. But I think you make your own luck. So it is just the work that you're doing that it seems like everything's falling into your hands, but actually it's come from your hard work and all your endeavours.
Advantage, goal,
that triangle though, perfect symmetry of London Pulse. Home fans enjoying that Semple, Thomas, Berger combination. Train and that centre bib on too. And there is Thomas.
I think she has such good control there. So then we saw her take a step. She landed on her left foot, stepped forward with her right foot and stood on the circle edge on one foot and still managed to deliver a really solid, good pass into the circle.
Hands coming off.
She's known for being a bit of a dancer, and you can see why, can't you? Just all the rhythm with the hands and with the feet.
Wing attack offside.
Saw her play in the Netball World Cup.
Attack, goal third.
And Sam Bird, one of her first signings, and a real strength to bring her to Pulse.
Yeah, the defenders there for Dragons caused a little bit of confusion, forcing Pulse to throw the ball up the back line. And Lindsay Keeble there with the chip. She's been a little bit more quiet in this second half, and I think that potentially is because of the rotating circle that Celtic Dragons have on against her. But there we saw her coming out with a tip.
Lindsay Keeble, her thumbs bend the wrong way, which is handy as a defender. But they've got all that quality for London Pulse at the moment. Defensive through court.
Contact centre, top of the circle.
So 7 minutes of this one remaining, and out to 20 goals for London Pulse.
Hold time, please. Substitution.
Then the change happens. Well, we wondered what else perhaps that they could do to sort things out. Laura Burton comes on court in that centre position, part of the Scotland, the Thistles long squad.
Contact, goal defence,
just trying to upset that rhythm in mid-court.
Yeah, I think it potentially might be a little too late, but hopefully Burton might be able to inject some oomph and Dragons will be able to claw some of these goals back.
Made her Super League debut last season. Some fresh legs on court for Celtic Dragons, already offering across the circle. Seen that 4 or 5 times.
Out of court, wing attack, throwing
just
Pulse.
for Dragons.
And we're
seeing it come off the back.
Yes, please.
We saw that error there from O'Dwyer, not being fully on court when she's handling the ball, giving away the throw into post.
Penalty. Goal third. Goal to obstruction.
So difficult, shifting the balance, trying to make sure the pass ends up as well. It's just full throttle netball. Drain. Thomas went on the run, fakes it, opens up the space for Semple. And that's what they've done. They've drawn so many of these Dragons defenders left, right and centre just to create that space.
Yeah, and then it's also about the vision of the ball carrier. So players who drive and draw, and then the ball carrier not releasing that ball and giving it into the space.
Standing ovation for Semple from the bench as she comes off. High fives all round. The shift 2, Berger goes off, she gets a high five. Double change up that end then. And Rothwell, Kira Rothwell comes on with that goal attack bit.
Contact, penalty pass.
And Liv Cheen too.
Advantage centre contact.
There's Cheen with the ball. Some more of this real young talent for London Pulse. And getting this much needed court time.
Yeah, definitely. So Olivia Cheen has been in the England Futures programme, and Kira Rothwell played in England Open Netball Europe last season, and is also in the England under-21s. So definitely really important for these girls to get court time.
Another change. Well, Tyrrell heads off to the bench, and the work rate that she put on for the last game, when they were down to 6-2, just carrying that defensive end for Dragons, seeing her change. So you don't blame her a bit of time off court. The goalkeeper bib goes on to Bolakaru.
Good work on court.
And O'Rourke coming on as well for Dragons.
Yeah, perfect.
So changes are plenty.
Unfortunate there, Robinson couldn't keep onto that ball. She held it on with her fingernails, but did some footwork, and possession lost again for the Dragons.
Advantage centre obstruction.
Rothwell, Cheen, combining. So difficult coming on when it's this fast pace anyway. I've had time to read it from the bench, I guess.
Yeah, but there's one thing reading it from the bench and seeing what you think you can do, but as you say, the pace of the game once you come on is really fast, so it's hard to read and hard to inject. I think also for the Celtic Dragons defence, it's hard when you keep on changing personnel and reading each other and deciding what exactly it is you're going to do and how you're going to work in partnership.
So Rourke combining with Robinson, and there's Burton at centre. To Clinton. Burton asking again, another of those changes.
Throw in, Pulse.
And throw in with Pulse too. Just everything really motoring now for the Londoners.
And a good rebound there by the Celtic Dragons defence. And the classic Faduja coming for an interception through court again.
Goalkeeper contact, penalty pass. Pull.
63 plays 37.
Time,
ball again, not being given up.
Francis raking, wing attack.
Ah, she was in no man's land, she just all that space. Found the way through.
Yeah, and I think I could see what Bolakaro was trying to do there, opening up the space. If she was playing with Izuenda that she's worked with often, the goal defence potentially would have run in and got that interception, because Tashin would have looked free under the post, and then your other defender comes in and takes that interception.
Dwyer across the circle to Burton.
Throw in, Pulse.
They're just throwing the ball that bit too high. Knowing that the Pulse defenders, they are aerial, they like to jump. So actually, you need to keep the ball low where they can't contest it, and they're not doing that at the moment.
Contact, goalkeeper.
Thomas so frustrated then. Got the ball, celebrated. It just shows how much desire she's got on court to make sure her team win absolutely everything.
Yeah, she's really hungry, and I love the way that she feeds the ball. They're fighting for it. Happy, just happy that she... And I think when you work really hard for something and you're rewarded and get it, you are really happy and excited. But I think she's so confident to let this ball go, because she plays a little bit off the short, not far enough on that feed, but she plays with a 6'6" goal shooter in the Jamaican Romelda Aitken, and also the captain, and so she's happy, Janelle Fowler-Reid, so she's happy to just let that ball go from wherever and is confident that it's going to be caught.
I was trying to work out the quarter-time score then. Don't throw me maths and names at the same time.
Contact, goal
But what
attack.
we've seen,
Centre
regardless of
penalty.
the margin of it, it's just how impressive London Pulse have been in this final quarter.
They have, and I think Celtic Dragons have only scored about 6 goals this quarter. Their shooting percentages dropping down,
contact,
but
goal
also the opportunities to go to goal dropping as well.
Last 45 seconds then, and just seeing the confidence, the way each of the players is swinging it around.
That's persistent obstruction, and that's a caution.
And that's
Advantage
frustration
goal.
in there from Bolokara as well, trying to make things happen for her side, but looking up at the score, and the 66 soon to become 67, and just to rub it in, you're a defender looking at that and you're thinking, can they just count the clock down a bit quicker?
Well, that was exactly Bolokara then again came out. Her goal defence backed her up, but didn't quite get there. So really frustrating because they're doing the right things. They're setting up to win the ball, but London Pulse still so accurate with their passing.
Nothing going the way of Dragons at the moment. It's all Pulse. It's their young guns up top. Everything they touch sinking through. Berger to her feet, enjoying the work of the rest of the team. They'll end up with ball in hand. They'll end up with a score on the clock too. It won't be enough for the 70, but they won't care about that. Impressive from London Pulse. Their first home game of the season. Now the smiles and the embraces all round. Impressive is right, Amar Grazy.
Yeah, definitely very impressive. They'll be really proud. That's more wins than they've had in their whole history, 2 years. But I think a definite significant start, and they'll be really happy to take that forward. They're going forward to play a lot of tougher teams who finished in the top 4 and top 5 earlier in the season. So it'll be good for them to get this basis and grounding for themselves.
Yeah, for Pulse, someone's O will have to go. They take on the unbeaten Team Bath. That's to come for them. As for Dragons, still searching for that elusive 3 points. They face Sirens in round 4. But as the huddle joins in the centre of the copper box, it's London Pulse with the win then. Check your pulse. It's on the up. 3 from 3 already. One more win than last season. No wonder Sam Bird is smiling. Let's hear from the player of the match with Hannah.
Thanks very much, Caroline. Adine Thomas has just told me she's not a fan of interviews. Unfortunately, Adine, when you play like that, you have to do them. I want to know, is there a ball that you've ever not gone for on a netball court? Because you were everywhere this evening.
I don't think so. I go hunting for the team, so...
Successfully hunting as well. Talk to me then about this Pulse team, because the last 3 games, 3 wins from 3. You only got 2 wins last year. The atmosphere and the energy around this whole group is really impressive.
Well, I mean, in our minds, we have it to make the top 4 this year. So even though most of the girls are from different countries, we're really working hard at training to make it work. So we just come out here today with structures. We work on our weaknesses, and we just came out here to put that on court and see how well we've played it. And we did a great job today. So I'm really happy with that.
You certainly did do a great job out on court. You're now 2nd in the Super League table with that win.
We are.
Top 4 was the target early on in the season, admittedly, but 2nd place and really setting down a marker.
Yes, I mean, we just came out here just to play hard and come out with a win and just show everybody that London Pulse is here when we're here to play.
And you're a joy to watch. I know the girls are really excited to celebrate this with you, so I'm going to give you this Vitality Player of the Match medal.
Hunting for the team, dancing with the team. This team is new, but already it's like they've never been off court together. Such combinations, real talent. What can London Pulse do this season? A 31 goal difference. They have beaten Dragons 69-38. Analysis to come.
GD must have a good dog. You're too kind. GD must have a good dog. You're too kind.
What a game we had this evening. 69-38 the scoreline between Pulse and Celtic Dragons. It means that London Pulse jump from 4th to 2nd in the Super League table. Celtic Dragons are now 10th. Without further ado, let's get to Sam Bird, the head coach of London Pulse.
Sam Bird, your London Pulse team are up to 2nd in the Super League table. That's got to put a big smile on your face.
Yeah, I'm so pleased. I'm absolutely flying tonight, the team, the whole squad, all the changes we made. They're much more confident, happy to let the ball go and win ball, and I'm really pleased for them.
You've talked a lot about consistency and those key skills. Were you pleased with everything you saw on court tonight, or are you still looking at that and thinking, we need to work on this, we need to work on that?
Yeah, I think always a coach, you always want more, but my best line tonight was for a team to steady down, and then I think she launched about 4 amazing balls off the bat to our shooter, so I think it's for them really to now learn when to steady it down and then open up the defence when they can see it. And again, I thought our defence was solid at the back. I thought Hallimat was outstanding again in the circle as well. Great defending unit, and I'm just really happy for them.
I know it's early days in the season, but watching performances like that, how far do you think this team can go this year?
Well, I just think for us, we're a completely new squad, as you know, and just to see that improvement over a very short space of time, just to improve and improve and improve, I think, you know, let's just see what we can do, but I can't ask for any more at the moment.
So 3 wins on the bounce. Next round, though, you're going away to Bath, a tricky trip to take for anyone. Is this arguably your first real proper tough test?
Well, Bath obviously a very good side. I know Anna very well, and she's a very good coach, and they will bring it, but so will we. And I think at this stage of the season, you can only go on current form, and we look strong, and I think we can go down there and really challenge.
Finally, there's a fantastic atmosphere in here tonight. What does it mean to get the first home game of the season done and with the winter boots? Yeah, it's fantastic to be here at the Copper Box, and the crowd are really good. It's really good to see our fan base grow, and we want more fans, and come and watch the netball because we play an exciting brand of netball. You certainly do that. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks.
I don't think I've ever seen her smile that much. She's so happy, 2nd in the Super League table. Camilla just put into words what it means to this team to be second. It's only 3 games in, but it's massively, it's so impressive. They finished at the bottom of the table last year. To do that at the start of 2020 is incredible.
They'll be relishing in this moment, absolutely, at the moment. Isn't it amazing what some confidence can do to a team? I mean, you heard her talking about them letting the ball go, and when your defence is turning over that much ball, but then you have a shooter the other end, nailing shot after shot with Ziggy Berger, outstanding today.
But she had help. She had a lot of help.
She did have help, and I think that we're going to have a look at something right now.
From Dean Thomas.
Dean Thomas, I mean, absolutely outstanding today. I know you guys mentioned her in comms tonight, but she had everything. She had the flair, she had the single leg passes, but she also had some real steady play, and this was the Dean Thomas that I've been waiting to see.
That was impressive.
That Jamaican international that we see, but what she's really doing is taking control of that attack end, and that is what you need from your wing attack. And I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, that's where she starts having some real fun.
She's just having fun, isn't she?
She is, but what she did tonight well with that was she waited for the right moment. She didn't do that. You didn't see her doing that in the first quarter because they didn't have that blanket of the lead. So it's really good to see a smarter Dean Thomas tonight, and that's the wing attack we need to see from her.
Yeah, it was incredible to see her in the third and fourth quarters, and what she could produce, that flair, that imagination and creativity she has is fantastic.
Yeah, I think she's not afraid to put her body on the line, and as we heard Sam Bird say, she was saying, no, don't, and then when she pulls it off, Sam Bird is actually like, actually, that's okay.
You go for it.
And so I think what Camilla said, it was really important that she read the flow of the game and read when it was appropriate to let those balls go.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. She's doing it really well.
I think they exposed Dragons, though. They exposed Dragons where they were in, with their weakness. They were able to put ball in from the centre third. They're not going to be able to do that against Bath. So as Sam Bird alluded to in that interview there, how will they challenge when those things are shut down? Are they going to be able to adapt? So the next game, I think, is the test for them.
They'll have to play with a smart head when they play against Team Bath. So how do you adapt when you're going to play against a different setup completely?
Well, I think one of the key things is actually looking at footage. So going away from today, yes, they've won and this is great, but actually looking at Team Bath, setting a game plan that's appropriate to Team Bath and having to adapt your game. I don't know whether they'll start with the same personnel. I thought actually the injection of Fumi Fadujo, when she came on, it lifted the team even before she'd made any significant impact. So I think it will be really key to see who Sam starts with, but also what they do, what they look at in footage and what game plan they
Can we also just talk about so we've got some clips of Fumi.
We've just got a highlight for Doju because she was brilliant.
She came in, and this is the kid that everyone wanted to see. I mean, interceptions.
That was from nowhere.
From nowhere. But I think we have to mention Halima Adio, who, for me, outstanding tonight. This is the coming of age of her. She's been in this setup, in this Super League setup for a few years now, and this is her break. This is the Halima Adio that we know, that we can see. She's really leading as co-captain from the back there, and really with her communication through to Fadoju in the front.
So what's been the difference then? Why are we seeing it now?
Because she's given the court time. Okay, she was at Wasps last season. She was at Stars before that, so and she didn't have as much court time. So now it's the opportunity. Thank you very much. That's the word. But also she's been given a leadership role in there with Lindsay Keeble, and sometimes that's all you need. That little break, and with the right person in front of you, you can come out somewhat.
And Lindsay's bringing so much experience, isn't she, to the side?
Yeah, and I think Lindsay's another player who hasn't necessarily. She's sat behind players at Mavericks for a long time, and she has some skills and some talent, but she's not always been able to produce that on court with opportunities. And I think both of these teams today have some players who have been at other franchises sitting behind some good players, and now that they're getting their opportunity, they're really taking that with both hands.
Yeah, they definitely are. And really great to see the players signing autographs for all the youngsters here, and a fantastic atmosphere here. Loads of youngsters. They're looking up to these netballers as real role models. We're seeing a shift in this country, aren't we, in terms of netball's popularity?
Yeah, and I think that's really important. When you go to Australia and when I go and do coaching sessions, 8-year-olds are telling me technical terms about half roll, dodge, double dodge, and they're 8. And I think, how do you know this? And one of the key things is they watch netball on TV, they come to the games, and so they understand the terminology and they start to understand the game that bit more.
Yeah, that's why we want everyone at home to hashtag show up, to buy tickets to go and watch Super League games, to watch it on digital, on Sky, and as well on YouTube as well. So we're digitally making it available. Try saying that again. I certainly won't. Let's get straight to Tanya Hoffman. Help me out, Tanya.
Well, Tanya, close for the opening couple of quarters, but that one got away from you a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I think it's an end to a pretty dampening week, but we just didn't fire, and Pulse played well.
In terms of areas for improvement, defensively, I know you've struggled through injuries, through suspensions. How are you going to look at reinforcing that defensive end going forward?
A good thing is that we've got Letty back next week. I know that we can't rely on one player, but certainly there'll be some things said at training, and they're just going to work really hard for the next game.
After two sort of close defeats in the first 2 rounds, I imagine this was a game that you were really targeting. How will the girls be taking this one and process this moving forward?
Oh, they're going to take it really hard. In fact, they have done, because, as you say, they were close against Storm as we were. So we're just going to work really hard, look at our processes again, and just hit Sirens hard in our next game.
That Sirens game then, a must win. You've got to get that first win of the season under your belt, haven't you?
We do. I mean, we need a win to get our season started. No games are easy in this competition, but we've just got to fight really hard.
Thanks, Tanya.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, it's back to the drawing board, isn't it, for Celtic Dragons, and they're up against Sirens next, and then it's Thunder. The hard games, they do come, and they're needing to get some points on the board. They want to get off the bottom of the table. Let's look at some of the highlights from Celtic Dragons, and Rebecca Robinson provided some.
Yeah, and I mean, it's terrible to see her so deflated at the end of that. I mean, we're round 3, and, you know, it seems as though, you know, they've lost the whole thing. But Rebecca Robinson, for me, I mean, this was more of a coaching thing for me. I would have liked to have seen Britt Coleman start this game with Rebecca Robinson entering in to have some impact. I think we saw the best of her in the first quarter and a half. Winning interceptions like that, that was the injection that they needed, but they had it at the wrong time of the game. So I think potentially there's some coaching things to look at there in terms of when you inject players. But, you know, a real strength there. She's got the mid-range shot. She was accurate at times. She was able to win balls for them, but she lost steam, and they didn't have the impact in Britt Coleman coming in there at a goal attack.
We will see what Celtic Dragons can do in the next round. We just want to highlight a couple of the results from the weekend, if you are just joining us. A fantastic game between Manchester Thunder and Loughborough Lightning, and Thunder overturned a 12-goal deficit to catch Lightning. It was 67-64. Can you believe that, Emma? What have you seen from Thunder this season? It's been up and down, hasn't it? Some quarters have been... they're scoring a lot and then letting teams back in.
Yeah, so I think we keep mentioning that consistency word. So they're being a little bit inconsistent, but they do have the whole season, they feel, to work on that and improve. We played them in round 2, and we pretty much were level with them most of the game, within 3, and then I think we lost it in the end by 9. But I think, again, they were slightly inconsistent and making unfortunate mistakes, like unforced errors, and so I think they need to work on those. They do have some good combinations, and their bench is very strong, so it will be keen to see how they use that.
Yeah, Super League champions, of course.
Yeah, I mean, they were 9 down going into that last quarter. Laura Malcolm, player of the match, was the difference in that game. They had a defensive lineup on the through court, and Laura Malcolm was the difference in that game.
Wow, 9 goals down.
Fantastic.
That's remarkable. Bath overcame Wasps at 62-51. A really impressive performance from Team Bath, who are on Sky Sports. It's not next week, is it? It's the week after, because next week your team, Saracens Mavs, are up against Loughborough Lightning. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, Loughborough are a tough team to go away to, and you know they suffered that defeat, but they were so strong for 3/4 of that game. So it's going to be a tough game, but always up for a Loughborough Lightning away game.
So you've got 2 wins under your belt, just the 1 loss. So yeah, we can't wait to watch you. And the timing for that is at 6:45 on Sky Sports. Confirmation then, Lightning against Mavs on Sky Sports Arena and Sky Sports Mix. That's next Monday. And Off the Court will be running through the season with our very own Caroline Barker and Tamsin Greenway. Really great in-depth analysis of all the sides and what they're up to. That's available on demand and on YouTube as well. So a great game here at the Copper Box Arena in East London. Amma, your 7 Stars side, they take on Wasps. It's back to the drawing board for you, and we wish you the best of luck in that game next week. And Camilla will be seeing you in Loughborough when we travel there with Sky Sports. You're at the cameras will be watching that game. And from us in East London, we'll see you next time. Good evening.
Jet plane headed up to
the sky. Spread wings and the clouds getting high. We ain't hit a rave in a while. So take me back to London. Bass high, middle night, sitting low. Sweat brow dripping down when in Rome. No town does it quite like my home. So take me back to London. So take me back to London.
Sky Sports. Feel it all. This programme is brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance and Investments.
Handball, penalty. She's doing it again. Am I the only one that knows the rules?